Hey guys, I'm Duncan, and this series is something a little bit different. Now, I've always believed that I'm quite a good Pokemon player, but I've never claimed to be on the level of the greats. And talking of the greats, today I've got a coach with me. He wrote a book. He literally wrote the book on competitive Pokemon. It's my boy Jamvad.
Yo, don't praise me like that, man. You're making me nervous.
Nah, I gotta praise you like that. You're coaching me. You're the pro in this situation, bro. So, Jamvad has a channel. He does a lot of competitive Pokemon content. He coaches people to improve them. I'm like a 1700 player. I want to be a 1900 player. I want to be a top 100 player on the Showdown ladder. I've cracked it during Suspect ladders a couple of times, but that's not the same thing. So what we're going to be doing with this series is Jamvad's going to explain key concepts. Now, some of them I understand, some of them I know already, but for you guys as well, so that you guys can sort of grow along with me, he's going to explain key concepts of how to get good at Pokemon, and you can find all of this out in his book, which is linked down below, by the way. But he's going to explain key concepts, then we're going to do a few games, and we're laddering on a brand new account, and then he's going to correct things that I've done wrong, and he's going to explain the mistakes I'm making and why they're mistakes, because sometimes you can win a game, but you've still made mistakes. Even low ladder, there are still places to improve. So today is lesson 1. This is Pokemon 101 with Jamvad. I'm gonna let the old man take it away because he's the one who wrote the book. So I'm gonna be quiet now.
Nah, but I'm actually super pumped. I think the competitive scene, guys, he actually mentioned something. There's nothing like solar blading a Gastrodon. And so
that's a good feeling.
Like, you remember the feeling when you picked your starter for the first time and you were about to take this adventure? Like, that's what each game on the ladder or in the draft league game feels like. And so I want to share that experience with everybody and lower the bar for the entry point into competitive Pokemon. So if you're new and you've been curious about it, this is going to be the perfect
a really good primer.
for you.
Yeah, because that bar to entry right now is so high. Because there's nobody saying this is how you prime, like, at the beginning. Like, right. This is how you learn.
So stay tuned. It's going to be a blast. And really, since Duncan is already somewhat familiar, we're going to be starting from the bottom of the ladder. And my goal is to get Duncan into the top 100 of the ladder. So this is going to be quite the journey. He doesn't realize how far he's going to really go. But that's my job. That's my job to, like, show him the light that he doesn't know is already there. So I'm pumped. Guys.
I'm pumped too. Shall I get a game while you sort of explain the 3 pillars of Pokemon? Because I think that's what this episode is about. It's like the basics. It's the beginnings. This is the beginning of the series. It's the beginning of my journey on Duncan Gets Carried. And like, again, these 3 pillars of Pokemon, they weren't explained to me as pillars when I first learned them. But this was definitely when Joey was teaching me all the way back in the day. Like, this is the kind of idea that I learned on. And that's a scary team. Okay.
You got a game? Did you block PMs?
No, I did not. I did not block invites. I can send you a link.
Okay, cool.
I think I'm fine though. Honestly. I think I'm fine.
It's booting me out. Are you
booting you out? You know what? I'll just share screen with me. I'll share screen with you. It's because they've set it to limited.
Yeah, it's not invite only.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
I don't know if this kills, but I think it does. There we go. He switched anyway. It's fine. Okay. Ooh! Oh, and he goes down a hail. All right. So wait, 3 pillars of Pokemon. Sorry.
Well, this is a phenomenal start. I actually like this setup, that Showdown setup. It's really cool,
it's Pedro's theme. I like it a lot.
Yeah, it's really cool. I really like this. I might have to try this out on my next video.
I'll send it to you. Yeah.
But yeah. So in the beginning, Duncan is not going to have too much problem. He's pretty much on autopilot at this point. So this is an important component. The fact that he's able to play kind of on autopilot is because Duncan already knows, say, Mandibuzz versus Dragapult. He already knows that Dragapult is going to go down to foul play.
Yeah.
He knows that that's super effective. He knows a bit of base information about each thing. And so generally, when a player is new, so he just predicted him to go for Thunderbolt. He knows that Zeraora has Volt Absorb, and he wouldn't take any damage. These are things that you're going to begin to learn as you start to play. So this is called knowledge. He just knows what to expect. And so he's reacting based off that. There are 3 pillars: knowledge, skill, and awareness.
Awareness generally, is definitely where I suffer. just to jump
in. Dude, I suffer from awareness time to time. I have to train that constantly. If you don't train it, then like it's gonna fall. So that's super normal. But knowledge, again, is the informational parts of Pokemon. The movesets, how fast their aura is, its type, things of that nature. And that you learn that very fast. Once you start playing, you grab a team, super easy, super fun. Do not forget that.
Yeah, it's definitely an advantage of Showdown as well, that like you can hover over the mons to see a lot of that information that in Wi-Fi you'd have to memorize.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Showdown's going to be your ultimate training ground.
Good way to learn, yeah.
First and foremost, Pokemon Showdown is your best friends. Gonna be the ultimate. Oh, you just got predicted.
Yeah, I got predicted. Don't worry about it. I'm good.
But no, so Showdown's gonna be your best friend. But yeah, so knowledge is gonna be the informational parts. That's gonna be your first pillar. That's the pillar that's the foundation for all the other pillars in a way of looking at it. You need the knowledge. And so the best way to get knowledge is this team is going to be down in the description below. Very easy team to use, very simple. You just hop on, grab games, and play. Y'all can also increase your knowledge, by watching other people play. And so I'm sure Duncan is eventually, once he starts topping ladders and stuff, going to have a little more competitive content on the channel. And you can also find it from other... I
strongly recommend Jamvad yourself. You guys know I recommend MV, although, as Jamvad has said, don't use MV teams. They're for stunts there because he's very creative and he's able to do that because he's reached that level already. But definitely check out MV. Definitely check out Jamvad. The Jamvad Academy is an incredible channel to learn from. Pokeaim MD, Thunder Blunder. I like people like that. Like you guys are just you're on another level, and it really is.
But we're about to get you there. It's not as far. You're not as far as you think. It's not as far as you think, and that's what I want like everybody else to understand as well. I remember I had a guy PM me, and so the academy is essentially a Discord where we have a community that helps teach each other.
Yeah.
The culture is judgment-free zone. Just help your fellow man. And so a guy PM'd me on Discord. He's like, Jam, just got your book. I'm 1100. And so at the time, I was actually super like distant from YouTube. And so I wasn't uploading as much as I used to. I had put out this video series, which is also helpful for beginners. Put out a video series that's free. And after I completed that, I was like, I feel like I've given all I needed to give to the community. I've given it all. It's there. All the information you need is there. I made it simple. Bada bing, bada boom. But this guy PMs me, right? He's like, yo, da-da-da-da-da. And he was 1100. And so I was like, okay. He's like, he's reading the book and da-da-da. Yeah. He gained 300 points, I think, in the first week of just reading.
Yeah. I mean, the book, I'm only halfway through the book because I've been so busy. But it is a fantastic resource. Like, if you don't want to do coaching or, you don't have time for it, wow. Okay, that was a poor switch by my opponent. I rank 1009. Like, why would you do that? Like, don't let a hat die like that. That's...
He's learning. He's learning. He's learning. He's knowledge. It's fine. He's trying to gather this knowledge. So, but nah, you're absolutely right there with the resource. That's something I've heard quite a bit. And I'm really happy to hear that because I don't want to promote something that doesn't work. And so I've had several people try, okay, test it, use it, read it, test it, and see, do you get the results you want? And so for him, he'd PM me every now and again, and he'd say, okay, I'm struggling here, what do you recommend? And it'll be little tweaks, sort of like what we're going to do to Duncan. But this wasn't even live coaching. This was just a few messages on Discord. And in 3 weeks, he went from 1100 to 1703.
That's
3 weeks.
That's incredible. That's actually
by himself.
Really impressive. What is this Chandel's item? I'm trying to find out what
heavy duty boots.
Heavy duty boots? That's I keep forgetting
No,
what
it's
item
leftovers.
is.
It's leftovers. It's
Did I miss leftovers? There's no way I missed leftovers. Where?
Just hover over it. Hover over it.
Oh yeah.
There.
Okay, so it's a speed tie between our chandeliers. Probably don't want to risk that.
Yeah, and I would put actually supposed to have knockoff over play rough. I forgot to change that.
That's fine. A plasma fist should be enough. I mean, even if it's not, he's not killing me in one hit with lefties.
No, he's not. But
So
even you're listening to what Duncan says. He just mentally knew plasma fist would likely be enough. That's because he's been in that situation.
It's practice. It's just information you gain over time. So that's the first pillar. This is the pillar, the most important pillar for early game, low ladder, as Jam was saying, is that knowledge pillar. Just knowing what can kill what can take what hits, what sets mons generally run, or what items. For example, when I said, what item is this chandelier? It's because I was stuck, because I'd missed the leftovers proc. So I was like, it's not lefties, it's not this, it's not that. What is it? So just knowing that stuff, knowing, for example, the Bishop Sucker Punch here cannot knock out Zorora. Right? So I can CC.
Close combat.
Yeah. Super safely.
And so, like, hopefully you're not overwhelmed. It's very simple. Like, it's you know, it's one of those things. It's like, you know, if you guys can drive now, right? Remember the first time you were learning how to drive? It was like, oh my God, you got to pay attention to the road and the blind spot, and I have to keep my foot on the gas and remember to put it in gear. And so, you know, that may have been overwhelming, and you're like, okay, it's gonna take forever to get this. I'm the worst. I don't know how to parallel park. I'm a failure at life. Whatever, you know, whatever extreme you went to.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, right? And so it's more kind of like he's learning.
He's learning. He'll be fine.
It's all good. Learning.
It's all good.
And so just we already did the hard work for you. Gave you a solid team.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, and you know, gave you some knowledge. So you know what? For episode 1, I think this is actually a good place. We've won 2 games, we've gotten a few ladder scores, and we've explained the basics of Pokemon. I don't think there's much to say. Well, I don't know. You might have some stuff to say about my plays. Switching in Mandibuzz was a mistake. That was
no. I mean, here, and so at this point, Duncan has already surpassed this point
off the ladder.
And so these in the lower ladder, you're going to be experiencing players who are learning the game as well, and so they don't really understand a lot of the things, and so they're just learning. It's a learning phase. And if you don't know what we were talking about with regards to ladder,
so for example,
website, go ahead.
Sorry, on Showdown, as you were saying, there's a ladder system, and you can explain that in a second. But for example, here, like most higher up in the ladder, I wouldn't lead Chandelure against this team, right? Because I'd be worried about a T-Tar lead. I'd be worried, but I think low ladder, the odds are, I'm not saying this is guaranteed, they're so used to just having a lead Pokemon, which is a very old thing, but I think he's going to lead Ferrothorn. So I want to lead Chandelure in the low ladder here, and if I'm wrong, I can play around it. But oh, he did lead T-Tar, of course. Of course, the moment I start speaking.
But here's the thing, your logic wasn't flawed because T-Tar wasn't his lead slot, and so you technically. No, well, if you had just paid attention, what was in his lead slot? You would be right.
That's true.
So you were right about that.
I think Rillaboom's fine here, though.
Yeah.
Anyway, you were saying about the ladder and how it works.
Yeah. So essentially, the ladder is it's this ranking system, and so anybody can hop on and join. And so basically, the goal is to play and to get as high as possible. You know, ideally, I'd want to get Duncan to the #1 pots. Dragalge's fine.
I was thinking Dragalge and just less spikes, but I wasn't 100% on it.
You outspeed. It's a dragon type, so it can kill you back if you don't attack it. So what was I saying there? Yeah, but you know they're saying it. The ladder is the goal is just to have some fun, play versus people from all over the world. You get to compete and battle, just what Blunken. I said Blunder and Duncan at the same time. So Blunken is doing right now. But yeah, that's what Duncan is doing right now. He's playing versus somebody else from around the world, from who knows where, and they're going at it to see who's going to lose the points. And so it's really fun to do, really, really fun. Again, we did a lot of the heavy lifting. You don't have to build a team. You don't have to learn how to do EVs. All you have to do, click the link in the description, get that team, go to showdown.com, import the team. Easy. And if you want to show them how to do that at the end of the video.
Yeah, I will. At the end of the video, I'll sort of show them how to import a team and add it. He did go Manectric. I was like 50-50 on whether he would.
But he can't really do much.
No, he doesn't do much back. I'm tempted to just play rough. I do wish we had the knock.
Yeah.
I should have put that on after you said last game. But
definitely.
I think I'm going to just play rough, and then next turn I'll...
Close. Oh, it actually 2 KOs. I'm surprised.
Yeah. I don't want to risk the miss, though. Missing here could really cost me. So that's another thing you've got to be aware in Pokemon, which was going to be a later episode, and it is something measured, is that I complain. I'm actually probably the god king of complaining about hacks in Pokemon. Like, nobody complains more than I do. But the real skill in Pokemon, one of the real skills, and it's one of the things that I've never managed to master, and I'm hoping that this coaching with Jamvad will help me with it, is mitigating hacks. Like, learning that maybe click the more accurate move, and yeah, you'll lose them on rather than just KOing your opponent, but it still leads to a win con. Whereas if you risk the 10% miss, okay, 90% of the time you keep your Mon and you get the KO, but there is that 10% of the time where you lose the whole game because you made that mistake. Sucker punch.
And don't feel overwhelmed if you don't know what the heck Duncan just said.
Yeah.
You know, that'll come with time, because I try to, that's why I even talked about the team import thing.
Yeah.
I had a coaching client that I linked him up with that guy that got from 1100 to 1700 in, which is not easy to do, guys. Like, to give you some context, that's not an easy thing to do. They're players who've been playing for, I want to say maybe 4 years, who've never even gotten past 1500. And so,
this guy's actually a good player. I'm making some errors here.
Yeah.
I might have lost. I should have gone Mandy there. I thought about it, and then I was like, I don't need to. It's fine. I don't have anything for Pharaoh now.
Well, you do. All right, go to Rillaboom.
Go to Rillaboom?
Yep. Just knock his item off. Knock his left.
Okay, all right. We got Jam trying to save my terrible play here. It's fine.
So,
wow, that did a lot.
Yeah, your choice band. You likely Gyro Ball or knock. And so now grassy terrain is up. All right, so he doesn't seem like he has Gyro Ball, and so you're gonna U-turn here. You still need the grassy glide on this for Tyranitar and
Cheetah's a problem.
And so
we
now
can
you're
go
gonna have Mandibuzz.
Mandibuzz? Okay.
On the off chance he has Gyro Ball.
Exploded.
Okay,
okay.
Thank
you. I appreciate that. Thank you for blowing yourself up, man. I think I have to go to Dragalge here.
So this is another, and I'm starting to see some of your patterns, but you know, I'm so pumped to, because it's gonna be like, once you learn it and then understand like what you're doing, you're gonna be like, I can't believe I used to do that.
Yeah,
it's so
for sure.
It's so simple. Like, I don't want to overcomplicate. Like, if it's overly complicated, then I'm not explaining it correctly. And so,
Mandibuzz is the sack here. Specialty tar. Interesting.
It might be mixed. He might just be Stone Edge and Dark Pulse. Defox solid. Oh,
no, it is Specialty tar. Okay.
Well, he can't guard against Rillaboom anyway. So.
And Rillaboom's faster than him, because we just saw that Mandibuzz was faster than him. So I don't actually even need to click Glassy Guide. I could click Woodhammer.
Yeah. Though you might recoil die, but
yeah,
I don't think
maybe Grassy Glide doesn't KO is the problem.
No, just Woodhammer. Excellent. Even though, yeah. So Dragalge.
I mean, Clefable should beat.
No, Dragalge, because you don't want
Dragalge here, yeah.
Clefable wins the game. So that's why I always knew Clef was going to win. And so that's why I'm not overly concerned about any of these moment-to-moment plays.
Flip turn here just in case he switches.
It doesn't matter. He can flip turn. You can flip turn.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, Clefable comes in. You knock his leftovers off because he can't do any damage. Cinderace goes down.
Ooh, doesn't go down.
Doesn't matter. You just go for
Moonblast
here.
Yeah. That's a lot, but we got Grassy Terrain healing for 2 more turns.
You're outside of the range. You're outside of the range of any hit anyway.
So we can just
No. Go to Dragalge. I'm not sure what this Machamp is. Could be up faster than you.
Bullet Punch. Oh.
Yeah, you
that
can.
probably wouldn't have killed, but Guts Machamp, maybe it would have.
Yeah. And so now your best
Flip
play
turn
is
again.
you just,
Yeah.
And so now you're starting to, if you're a viewer, you're starting to notice every time Duncan has Dragalge in, he goes to Tyranitar. So you're starting to learn your opponent's patterns.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay.
Unfortunately, I learned my opponent's patterns too late. This guy was making like predictions every turn, and I was like, surely this is the turn he doesn't try and predict. But he was every turn.
Just heal your Clefable. As long as it's healthy, you should be able to prevail.
I'm kind of tempted to softboiled here, though, just to get back to full. Nice and healthy.
Yeah, heal. And so, because you have to worry about para hacks and all that.
Now I do, yeah.
But just knock his item off. That way he can't keep gaining health back. Yep, and then you just Moonblast spam here.
I'm interested. I'm very interested by that Stealth Rock play. That was odd to me.
Should knock him out. Yep. And so since the Machamp only has bullet punch, you don't need to be concerned about it. You can just it wouldn't kill. It won't even do half, but it'll do a lot.
Full power would have been unpleasant. Full power would have been unpleasant. But I think we're fine. We beat T-Tar easily now. I mean, special T-Tar, what? He does 30% with Thunder.
Right.
Which is his strongest move. 25.4. So I'm going to softball just in case para hacks. See, this is where normally I would click Moonblast. But you said softballed up, and I realized that you're saying that because if I get paralyzed, I want to be softballing ASAP. To stop that from happening. And he did
it's not because you get paralyzed, and this is a concept you learn down the line. Again, didn't want to overwhelm anybody with anything.
Yeah.
If you remember the part in the book where I mentioned holding positions that cannot be attacked.
Yeah.
This is a case of that. So, from your perspective, you're losing because you have less Pokemon and he has threats. But from my perspective, I knew you'd win the game because
with Clefable.
Yep.
Well, I was worried about Ferrothorn. I thought I'd lost my answers to Ferrothorn, and then he blew it up. I mean, but also Rillaboom was weakening it. So, yeah.
Well, you lost your answer to Ferrothorn in the short term. So meaning, you lost something that can one-hit KO Ferrothorn. But if you can't one-hit KO it,
work away at it.
You work away at it, and that's what happened. Rillaboom's knockoff took it to 50, and then whether it was going to be Mandibuzz foul playing it until it perished, or Dragalge trading Dragalge, because you got to remember, Clefable cannot be beat, and so that's a
it's a big thing,
right? And so that's a position your opponent cannot get past, and so if you remove what can beat your wall, then your wall can't stop walling, and so your wall will forever wall. So there are two ways to do it. You can either have a strong wall and then kill whatever can beat the wall, or you can have a big threat and kill all the Pokemon on his team with the threat. Yeah. And so you had a big threat in Chandelure, but you lost that. And so now it was a case of, okay,
I had to play defensively. And I think that switch is where I struggle. I think I do struggle with that switch to like playing more defensively if I mess up. And I really appreciate that, like, you actually coached me out of the situation. You were like, you go to Mandibuzz, you do this. You told me like 3-4 moves, and then suddenly I was able to play again. And it was like, I felt like the momentum coming back. I'm not good at reclaiming that lost momentum, so that's, you can find your weaknesses anywhere, and someone like Jamvad coaching, and he does coach people, he has a Discord server, you have his channel as a resource, and you have his book as a resource, and I do encourage you guys to go check it out. If you want to get better at Pokemon, this is clearly the way. We got a really perfect example of Jamvad coaching me out of a situation where normally I would have got in my head, I would have panicked, and I would have played really badly from that point. And he calmed me down, and he's like, no, this is how you win it. And that's the awareness pillar, right? That's the sort of awareness of your win condition and how you can do it. And that's where I do struggle. And as I said to Jamvad when we first set up this coaching, it's where I struggle. It's where I need the most advice and help. And as you can see, he did the job perfectly. So I think that's a great place to end this episode off. We will see you guys with next episode of the series, which we're going to record right now. So don't worry, this is going to be a regular series. This isn't Stunting on him that comes back every now and again. It's going to be a regular series. And I really hope you guys enjoy it. Please do check out Jamvad's content. Please do check out his book. And see you next time.
Yeah, thanks for watching. See you next one.